you believe we would have COVID? Did you believe we would have lockdown? Did you believe it would be in a civil war? We're in a civil war, everybody, in case you didn't know it. And do you think that when our president is back elected, do you think they're going to stand for it? No, they're not. They're going to come.
Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal!
Stop the Steal speaks for itself. We're rallying together as a community, as Idahoans, to support President Trump, let him know all over the country that we're here. We support him, and we support the fact that there is most likely voter fraud, and we want it to be exposed.
Donald Trump lost the presidential election, but he's refused to accept it.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
His claims of fraud have been rejected by the courts, but parroted by his lawyers and political allies.
President Trump won by not just hundreds of thousands of votes, but by millions of votes.
234 pages of sworn affidavits.
650,000 ballots that are unlawful ballots.
Systematic and pervasive fraud.
In Idaho and across the country, his supporters have rallied to the cause.
Stop the steal!
There's lots of videos going around on social media. Trucks full of voter ballots that they were getting rid of. They also put up some cardboards on some of the windows at some of the voting polls and weren't allowing Republican GOP voters to come in. So right there shows you that there was no transparency. They're hiding something.
There is no evidence to support these claims, but they continue to spread.
It's hard to tell, right, whether that's an institutionalized campaign to promote disinformation or whether it's literally just grassroots people grasping at straws. And I think it's a little bit of both, probably. And I think at some point it doesn't actually matter, right? That as long as this information is circulating within the overall media environment, that it's going to cause problems.
Facebook has cracked down on false election claims, but groups have found other ways to organize.
People are moving to new outlets. They're moving to MeWe and to Parler because they're not censored. People need to know that they need to write their congressmen, they need to write their governor, their mayors. Everybody needs to get active.
They want you to think that this is over. They want you to think that we lost.
In Idaho, elected leaders have joined the protests.
Trump is a horrible person.
The Republican Party in general needs to take a more active role in the system of government and come out and verbally state that, yes, we need to have integrity in election. We need to make sure that things are done correctly and that we need to be supporting that process.
The process is rigged. This whole election is being rigged.
Crying foul is a familiar strategy for Trump. He's done it since 2016, in an election that he won.
There are a group of people, mainly white and blue collar, who feel forgotten. And Donald Trump has, over the last 3.5 years, mobilized them by saying, I am yours, you are mine, and I have enemies.
But you know the good part? Now I can be really vicious. I can be really vicious. And we're going to start by saying that the Democrats are trying to rig this election because it's the only way they're going to win.
And you have charismatic, powerful, highly critical, negative leader who's saying, don't trust them. They're not trustworthy. They're thieves. They're taking your leader away from you. They're very vulnerable to that.
He loves Americans. He loves all of us.
This is about democracy. If we allow our election and fraud to take over and the wrong person to get into office, then there goes our election. It's gone. How can we trust after this election?
The fact that Trump is undermining people's trust in the democratic process is really dangerous.
Stephen Levitsky spent 30 years studying how democracies fall apart, and he's alarmed at what's happening in America.
If people lose faith in the democratic system, if people do not believe that elections are free, they'll be more likely to tolerate violence, fraud, attacks on the process. What I worry most about is the Republican Party leadership, because those guys know better.
I don't know if there's fraud, but we ought to investigate to see if there's fraud.
This is a contested election. The media doesn't decide who becomes president. If they did, you would never have a Republican president for forever.
Anyone who's running for office can exhaust concerns about counting in any court of appropriate jurisdiction.
For our democracy to survive, they have to break with Trumpist abuses. They have to denounce efforts to steal elections. They have to denounce violence. They have to denounce institutional abuses. Their silence in the face of egregious abuse on the part of the president is really, really troubling going forward. In short, the Republican Party is showing signs of becoming an anti-democratic party.
For all those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple times myself, but now let's give each other a chance.
Joe Biden, the president-elect, has responded with calls for national unity. But Trump's most passionate supporters are not ready to move on.
Where was the national unity 4 years ago? Right? The day Trump won. People are screaming, people are throwing fits. The day of his inauguration, they're rioting. So this nonsense about unity, I haven't seen unity come from their side at all. Not at all.
MAGA is not just, it's not going away, because even if there's another president, we still want to make America great again. And we want to keep America great.